Welcome back to Boost in Motion, everybody, and today we are installing coilovers on my car. I have a Silver Sport. I'm going to be installing BC Racing coilovers, and I'm also going to do a DIY for the front camber install and a rear camber install. So let's begin. You guys, go to the handbrake, press it in, boom. You want to make sure that the car doesn't roll and slide. I'm going to be installing the front first. Find the proper lifting point. Where you want to put your jack or jack stand will be on this edge right here. Take a look from the outside. This is a hardened edge where the lifting points are for the front and the back of the car. So put the jack right here where this is. Jacked, and the jack stands are placed under the car securely. You move on to the next step. Because you already wanted to break tension by using the breaker bars to take off the lug nuts. So now that the wheel is off the ground, you could just use an air gun or a regular whatever way to take off the lug nuts. You have your sight set up. Use the wheel to sit on. Now the first thing I'm going to do is remove this nut and this bolt. It is a 14mm. You can use a 14mm wrench. Open it, close it, doesn't really matter. And you can use a ratchet with a 2 to 3 inch extension. And what you would do is, I'm gonna try to do it on video for you guys. You can use an air ratchet or a air gun, or you can do this. You see that? You just unloosen it. So one is gonna go down and the other one's gonna go up. But what I'm gonna use, because I'm quicker, is I have an electric gun. But I'm just doing it on video for you guys. Once this is removed, next step. Push the control arm up, all right? Try not to let the spindle come all the way out. So try to push it in. You can zip tie it somewhere if you want. I'm just gonna push it in. The next bolt I'm gonna choose to remove is this bolt. Reason being is because I have the all-wheel drive, you want to reuse this fork. So you're gonna take off this bolt also with a 14mm. With a 14mm. Using an air ratchet, or you can use I'm using electric ratchet, but you can also use your hand tools. Kind of stripping that head. We don't want that, so I'm going to use a different millimeter. Tight socket on there with the extension, 14mm, and I'm going to try to break tension without using the electric gun. Reason being, that doesn't have enough foot-pounds and it kills the battery. So it's good just to break tension first. And then you can walk in there and use the electric gun. Alright, so once you remove that bolt, the reason being is people might ask me why I'm starting with the bottom. I've done this coilover install plenty of times. So what I'm going to do next is remove, some people might say remove that bolt. I'm not doing that. What I'm going to remove is the sway bar link. The reason by it being, I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'm only going to do the passenger side, but just repeat the same thing for the driver's side. Is this bolt on the sway bar right here. Reason being is I want this lower control arm to be able to slide down and that strut to slide out of that fork that's right there. So it's a 17mm. I'm not going to do it on video for you guys because I'm literally trying my best just to show you. But this is what I'm going to remove next. And I'm going to do the same thing on that side that allows the sway bar to come down. It's much more easier to loosen the sway bar from both sides because it reduces the binding and tension. The sway bar link disconnected. You have the top control arm disconnected. And you have that one bolt connected to the fork disconnected. You're going to move to the top of the car. Now, I already have a front strut bar installed. So I'm going to put a card here, so you can take a look how to install a strut bar. It also gets into detail on how to install it, but also it tells you what nut and size to use. But it should be a 12mm deep socket, and there's 3 bolts, one here, and one here. I have to remove this, so I'm not going to go into the video about removing this, but you're going to do the same thing here. There's going to be a 12 there, 12 there, and 12 there. Once you remove that, now be careful. This whole assembly is going to drop. Alright? It's going to drop. It may not drop all the way, but it's going to drop. So remove the one last bolt slowly, and that's what I'm going to speed up to. I have the top 3 bolts unloosed. What you want to do now is start pushing down on the assembly. Be careful how much the assembly comes out, but start pushing down on it. And you see how it's tensioning? What I'm going to do now is push it down, and I'm going to pull this whole assembly towards me. Once those holes, it clears those holes and it clears this control arm. And I'm gonna take off this. Do the same thing on the next side. I got it removed. Be careful of that. You see that? This is dangerous. See? Don't do stuff like that. Don't be like me, guys. Don't tear the ABS line. Okay, that's the ABS line. You should remove a lot of that stuff, but I live my life on a wild side. All right, no pull out. Anyways, I'm gonna take this coilover. You're gonna want to install it first, the reverse order, right? You're gonna want to put it in, catch those holes, and just thread some of the bolt nuts onto it, and then you're gonna use the jack. You're gonna jack this assembly up until this part sits into there. All right, so you're gonna bolt that up so that could hang in there. You're gonna bolt it up into there so this could hang in there, and then you're gonna get a jack, and you're gonna jack it from under the spindle or on the rotor, and until you line it up with that, and you're gonna bolt everything up in reverse order. You're gonna bolt that together, and you're gonna bolt everything together. Oh, I forgot to say, at this time, I'm also gonna remove the top control arm. I have camber arms, so you have to. This is the best time to remove your camber arm. You're going to use a 14mm socket here and a 14mm socket here. Remove that and put the new camber arms in. All right. This little bracket, it doesn't fit in, so I had to bend this mounting bracket more inward so that they could slip in. So that's just one quick tip. You might have to bend this a little bit in so that they could slip in and you can bolt it up. Next step. I have the fronts installed with the MEGEN control camber arms. All right, the only weird part about these camber arms is I have to adjust it from here. So if I went to the alignment shop, they're pretty much going to bolt here and loosen these two bolts so they can see the proper place, or at least be able to access, so they could be able to access excuse me, access these bolts here. They use Allen keys to be able to slide this back and forth. So this is how they're gonna adjust the camber. But I got everything bolted up down here. This is bolted back up nice and tight, and I have the sway bar link also bolted back up. Everything is back in the proper place. So before I move to the top of the car, pretty much I'm gonna say is, all in all, this was pretty easy. I've done this plenty of times before. Just make sure before you button everything up here, tighten these back, not too tight. You can use a 14mm open wrench, and make sure that you tighten this back up properly too, because if this pops out, you're gonna crash. At the front for now, I'm gonna have to get everything dialed in a little later, but yeah, this is how it looks for now until I work on it some more. I may raise it up a little bit. I want to go for more functional height, so I may have to raise it up about 1/2 inch, but this is how it sits for now. I'm gonna go to the back. Let's start to take off the rear seats. This is the annoying part. We want to access the top of the coilover or strut assembly. So the first thing you want to do is unclip the seat belts. Second, down here, there's going to be little clips. I don't know if you can see it there. Little clips right here. I want you to pop those clips out. 1, 2, and clip it. What you're gonna do now is remove this. You want to be able to remove this because you have to access the bolt that is for this side. Also, before I forget, I have rear folding down seats, so I don't know if this is the same procedure for the ones who don't have fold down seats, but my seats fold down. So let's pull this out. Next, millimeter socket with an extension. You can use a ratchet or you can use an electric gun. And I want you to remove this bolt, which goes to this side cushion, and I want you to do that on the other side too. Let's take that off. I want you to slip the seatbelt out of the little hook up here, and I want you to pull this up and out. This should be able to come up and out. So you're gonna hate this part, but we have to take off this metal bracket. It has these nuts on it, but there's one back here. Now, to get to this belt bracket, to get to the top of the strut, we have to remove it. So some people like to put a wrench in or with a socket and extension try to get in with a swivel. No, you have to remove this side pillar right here. So start popping it out, pop out the tabs, move that stuff out the way, over there, pop it out. Don't worry, don't break the clips, guys. pops out. I'll figure that out later, I guess. Move that out the way. This little metal clip, I guess I'll figure that out too. Alright. Now what you want to do here is going to be quite annoying, but you pop this out too. Be careful with this part. I think this part breaks or slips off. I can't remember. It breaks or slips off over here. There is a curtain airbag over here. But you know what? Don't even take it all the way out. My last car I did, but don't take it all the way out, because now you have access to the two. So just pop this. Let me just clear it up a little bit. Just pop, yeah. Don't pull it all the way out, because my last Q50 was designed a little different, where this whole thing comes out, but it looks a little different this time. So I'm just gonna remove these bolts and I'm gonna carry you the sides. Let's do that next. Next is, if you have the fold down seats, go to the back and pull on these tabs, because we're gonna have to be able to access the few more bolts behind here. All right, we're gonna unclip these with the same flathead. Don't lose these tabs. Don't really break them, guys. You don't have to break them, you know. Just pop there. Pop there. Also, just a reminder, guys, if you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. I want to grow this channel. I'm probably one of the only Q50 people out here doing a lot of the DIYs, and the support will be gracious if you could like, share, and subscribe to the channel, right? So once you do that, you do it to the same side. You fold that down. Once you get that out, this probably has to slide this way. Let me see. Oh, more freaking tabs. More freaking tabs, huh? Just tabs everywhere, huh? Just get. Ugh. This looks like you have to use a flathead. So pretty much, guys, remove this tab, and there's gonna be some more tabs down here. We want to get this metal plate, this plastic plate out and about. So just remove all these tabs and let's move to the next step. Have that part removed. Remove all of these bolts here. This should be only the plate, but remove all these bolts. These should be 10mm bolts, including the one in here. Then we're going to be able to access the top of the mount. Do that next. Metal plate off. You have those two bolts off, this one nut, and these 3 bolts. You can just slide the plate down, and this is how you're going to be able to access the strut mount. You're going to take off, it looks like there, is it a 10? You might need deep socket, but it looks like a deep socket 12 or 14, so I'm going to give you an update on the next video. Alright, do the same thing. Make sure the handbrake is on. Loosen all of these on the floor first before you jack up the car, or if you're using the air gun, it's just easier that way. Okay, let's fast forward right now. The passenger and driver side are the same in the rear. It's very easy. You don't have to deal with the upper control arm. You don't have to deal with the bars. But I am going to try to replace this with another camber arm, because I want to be able to adjust my camber in the rear also. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today on video, but I'm going to try my best. Once you'll put either a 17mm socket here or wrench, and a 19mm socket wrench here. Hold back, either use a gun or ratchet. And then once you have that, you're going to push down on this assembly. You're going to push this down, and that's going to be able to loosen up some tension here, and this could be able to slide out. This is going to be able to slide out. Then you're going to go to the top, and that's going to be the next part of the video. Now you're going to remove the top 3 nuts with a 12mm deep socket and a ratchet. That's it. Once you knock that out, be careful. It's not going to fall because it's still suspended, but you want to be able to get all those off. Repeat it on both sides, and let's go to the second part of the video. Alright guys, to release tension, because once you unbolt the top, and this is unbolted. Alright, the arm that you're looking at right now is the toe arm. It should be the one to the far right, or depending on your orientation. But I want you guys to unbolt it from here, okay? Bolt it from here, push down on the caliper and rotor set, then pull the strut out. You're gonna have to push down on the assembly, see, like this. And while doing that, you're gonna push the strut in towards so it can slide out from the circle, okay? I'm gonna update after I got the stock strut off. What you're gonna do is the same thing for the front. You're gonna put the assembly in, up into the holes, and then you're gonna catch it on 1 or 2 bolts. You're gonna be having your hand over here, and you're gonna catch it with 1 of the bolts, and then you're gonna line it up properly. Okay? Everything up nice and tight here, but don't put everything back yet. Then I want you to get a jack. Get your jack. You're gonna jack up this whole spindle, and you're gonna make this and this connect with each other. Okay, guys? That's what I want y'all to do. Jack this up, connect it, bolt back the stabilizer link, bolt back the traction bar, and that will be the finish of the install. So I'm gonna zoom out now. Okay, the stock struts came with a bolt, but it has a nut that's welded onto it. So this is the BC coilover. I don't have an extra nut. And you guys are probably like, what are you talking about? See how I took off the traction bar right here? Took off the traction bar. There's a nut here. I use that nut because I don't feel like putting the whole stock strut back on just to find the proper nut. So what I'm gonna do is use the nut here. This traction bar isn't gonna be a dangerous thing. I put the bolt in with tension. It's gonna hold in there. I'm gonna go to the parts store and I'm gonna get a bolt that fits this. A nut that fits this threading. But pretty much this install is finished. I'm gonna tighten these bolts up here. I'm gonna tighten them on this side, and I'm gonna tighten them on that side. I'm gonna leave all of this way. Of course, I'm gonna push it back, and I'm just gonna throw everything in there. I'm not gonna set everything up because I want to make sure that everything is working properly. I don't want to button everything up and find out there's still an issue. All right, so I'm gonna tighten all the bolts, put the wheels back on, lower the car, and see how it sits, and go get this bolt. But all in all, the install took me about 3 hours. Guys, that's not my drive height. That's because all the weight is to the front of the car. But I'm gonna bring it down and we're gonna take a look. Coilovers on. BC coilovers. Spring rate is 24 in the front, 24K, and 12K in the rear on 62mm dampers. All right, let me button up a lot of the stuff, but I'm not finished with the install yet. I have to go get this bolt so I can make sure the suspension is all the way bolted up, and I haven't installed the strut bar back, and I haven't bolted up the rear top hats yet. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna leave all of this the way it is, and fast forward now. I feel like taking off my whole wheel just to get to the traction bar, and the nut is right there. So I'm just using, sorry for the loudness, all I'm using is a swivel 3/8. I'm using a 17" socket with about a 6" extension and my ratchet, and guess what? I'm literally putting on my last nut in the street without having to take off the wheel. This is amazing. Always be innovative, guys. Think outside the box.